Welcome to Gas Ed. Today, we will be discussing an automated multi-agent AI system for social media. Look, as business owners and operators, I know it's super tempting to just view artificial intelligence as this magic box, right? You type a prompt into a simple interface and cross your fingers for a magical result. But if we're talking about creating true, scalable leverage, we've got to stop relying on AI gimmicks. In this explainer, we're tearing down the actual mechanics of a professional-grade multi-agent architecture. We're going to look at exactly how you can build a totally automated digital workforce that literally operates around the clock for you. Our agenda today is pretty straightforward. First, the executive interface. Second, designing the master agent. Third, the post-creator subagent. Fourth, iterative image subagents. And finally, architecture cost and deployment. Let's dive right in. Section 1, the executive interface. So we're starting right at the top of the pyramid. To really wrap your head around this system, I want you to picture it as a digital corporate hierarchy. Let's establish our professional terminology before we even touch the software. What we're actually building here is called an agent architecture. In plain terms, that's a hierarchical AI framework that delegates complex tasks to highly specialized automated sub-agents. You see, you aren't just talking to one single AI model anymore. You're talking to an entire network of specialized models that constantly communicate with each other. This really strips away all that technical intimidation. As a business owner, you don't need to be a coder. You just need to be the boss, effectively delegating tasks to the right department. The user journey for this interface is remarkably clean. It relies heavily on the Telegram API. As the executive, you literally just pull out your phone or open your laptop and shoot a message to a custom Telegram bot. That single text message is your trigger. From there, the system captures whatever you inputted, whether it's pure text or a mix of text and images, and standardizes it into a structured JSON data format. So why does that actually matter? Well, by standardizing the naming conventions of your inputs, the architecture ensures that the underlying system always receives clean, absolutely predictable instructions. It's the ultimate secret to avoiding those crazy AI hallucinations. You get to feel that profound relief of just firing off a text from the airport, knowing an entire structured system is jumping to attention and instantly routing that formatted data down the chain of command. Section 2, designing the master agent. Okay, so that input data we just formatted lands squarely on the desk of our master agent. You can think of this component as the highly efficient middle manager of your digital organization. The absolute crucial thing to understand here is the master agent's actual job description. Powered by a robust core model and backed up by memory systems, this central AI does not do the heavy lifting itself. It simply evaluates your prompt, figures out the objective, and decides which specialist department needs to be deployed. You know, amateur AI setups usually try to force one single model to do absolutely everything, write, design, code, which inevitably leads to really degraded outputs. But this is a dedicated routing protocol. If you ask for a written social campaign, it routes to the copywriting agent. Ask for a visual tweak, it routes to the design agent. It just keeps your entire system perfectly organized with high fidelity. Section 3, the post-creator sub-agent. Let's look at the very first specialized department our master agent might deploy, the post-creator subagent. This is your high-leverage content creation hub. What really separates a professional system from your standard chat window is parallel processing. When the master agent triggers this post-creator, the subagent uses parallel tool calls to craft highly tailored content all at the exact same time. From that single prompt you sent via Telegram, it activates 5 distinct fine-tuned microagents. One optimizes a punchy thread for X, another formats a professional essay for LinkedIn, one builds engagement for private forums, one drafts a YouTube community post, and the last one writes an Instagram caption. Just think about the sheer business value there. A human social media manager would take hours to reformat a Twitter thread into a proper LinkedIn essay. This system generates 5 unique platform-specific deliverables instantly. But hey, we cannot rely on stale training data, right? To be truly elite, this sub-agent is equipped with real-time web scraping capabilities. If you prompt it to write about a current industry trend, the sub-agent will mercilessly search the internet to gather factual context before it even starts drafting the copy. Say your industry had a major news event break just this morning. Your agent already knows about it, processes it, and embeds that fresh context right into the post. This guarantees your automated outputs are incredibly grounded, strictly accurate, and perfectly relevant to what's happening today. And it does all of this while strictly adhering to your brand identity. By embedding customized context documents into the system, the architecture flawlessly mimics your specific business persona. It uses the exact phrasing you prefer, it consistently tacks on your custom sign-offs, and strategically applies relevant hashtags to every single output. Your audience reading these posts will see a consistent human-like brand signature across every channel, totally unaware that a multi-agent system just assembled the whole thing. Section 4. Iterative Image Subagents. Let's pivot away from the copywriting department and walk over to the visual specialist department. This is where the architecture fundamentally changes the game for scalable asset generation. Look, traditional AI image editing suffers from what we call the one-shot problem. If you've used consumer platforms, you know this frustration intimately. You ask the system to change a text layer, and it spits back an entirely new, slightly distorted image that completely loses the original quality. Our architecture entirely replaces those static, one-shot edits with iterative, version-controlled edits. It allows you to make sequential, follow-up edits to an image while maintaining the exact original image fidelity and keeping your brand fonts flawlessly intact. It's a real game changer. To completely demystify the magic and look under the hood for a second, let's walk through the step-by-step technical workflow. When you send an image via your Telegram interface, the system first uploads it directly to Google Drive and renames it to strictly establish version control. Next, it passes that file through a hosting service, like MGBB, to generate a clean, accessible URL. And finally, it uses that specific URL to make an API call to a highly powerful processing hub like Replicate, which handles the actual complex visual manipulation. It's literally a brilliantly structured automated assembly line for your digital assets. Because we're using this strict version-controlled workflow, iterative prompting actually becomes a reality. You can ask the agent to change a text layer to say hello. Once it returns the image, you can reply, "Okay, now make the subject's shirt green." Then you can say, "Now add a second subject into the background." Every single edit builds sequentially upon the exact same base asset. Think about why this is absolutely massive for your business. You essentially have a senior graphic designer sitting right there in your Telegram chat, responding to complex visual revisions in seconds, never complaining, never needing a break, and delivering professional-grade image manipulation directly through a simple chat interface. Section 5. Architecture Cost and Deployment. So as business operators, we've established this incredibly powerful digital workforce, but we absolutely have to look at the bottom line. What does this whole shebang actually cost to run? 30. That is the number I want you to remember. By connecting directly to these wholesale API endpoints, instead of paying for bloated consumer-facing software subscriptions, you are accessing raw computing power at true wholesale prices. You can execute roughly 30 professional-level iterative image edits for just $1 single. When you combine the fractional cost of the core language models functioning as your master agent plus the image processing APIs, the total deployment overhead is statistically negligible compared to traditional manual labor costs. Let's speak directly to your ambition as an operator here. You are gaining the raw output capacity of an entire social media management team and a full graphic design department for what basically amounts to just a few dollars a month. This is the very definition of massive operational leverage for any scaling business. And what we have discussed today is just the foundational level. The next phase of scalability in this architecture involves closing the loop entirely. Future deployments of this exact system design won't just route tasks, generate multi-platform copy, and iteratively edit images. They will connect directly to the APIs of your social platforms to automatically publish the final assets. What does that mean for you? It means stepping entirely out of the day-to-day grind. You transition from being a stressed-out content creator to a pure systems overseer, focusing entirely on high-level business strategy. As a consultant looking at the broader AI landscape, I can tell you unequivocally that using isolated AI gimmicks will not build enterprise value. Workflows outlast software fads. As the saying goes, architecture separates the professionals from the amateurs. When you build a multi-agent system, you are building a proprietary asset that compounds in value and efficiency every single time you use it. It is a complete paradigm shift in how we approach business operations, which leaves us with one final strategic question to consider. How will you structure your digital workforce to scale your brand? That is all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.